Ward. I am the founder and lead instructor at Ward and Fifth Consulting. And I've been gone for a while. I thank you guys so much for your patience. I want to thank everyone online who've taken our previous courses. Appreciate all the feedback. I'm looking to make everything even better than it was before. I'm looking to finish all 23 courses this year so you guys can have a lot of information as you move forward to launch your own fashion brand. If you don't know about Ward and Fifth Consulting, we work with startups from A to Z. So filing trademarks, your LLCs, your S Corp, to creating logos, operating agreements, building business plans, sourcing overseas or sourcing in America. If you need apps, e-commerce, websites, social media, digital marketing, online advertising, collaborations, partnerships, product placement, celebrity placement, events, et cetera, all the way to the end to make your brand grow. That's what we do. We work with startups to give them resources they otherwise would never have or could not afford, and we do it at a price that doesn't break the bank. Offices in New York, Detroit, and California. So with that being said, I've been very busy over the last year, but I'm ready to launch some new courses, so let's jump into it. So in today's course, we're going to talk about e-commerce and drop ship, right? We want to really focus on online sales because it goes directly to your customer, and then drop ship because it's going to allow you to get in front of customers that you would have never been able to get in front of just like 10 years ago. So let's jump into it. So there are there's a vast amount of ways to launch a fashion brand. Some people really like to jump in and go straight to boutiques. Some have relationships with department stores, so they go that route. Some go straight online. This is my recommendation based off of my 15 plus years in the fashion industry. And this is what I suggest to companies so that they can be lean, they can work within the minimum viable product process, MVP, and be a lean startup. So here's my recommendation for you guys as you start to launch. If you're in the early phase, I recommend that you look at this also, and maybe if you haven't gotten the traction that you would have liked with the wholesale business and doing retail, maybe you can do a pivot and follow this strategy. So let's go. Year one and year two, at the very beginning, let's just assume that you've already developed your product, you have manufacturing, you're ready to roll out, you have inventory, whether it's in your apartment, your garage, or at a third-party warehouse, doesn't matter. This is where you should be concentrating on when it comes to sales and distribution, all right? For the first 2 years, concentrate on e-commerce at your brand's website, all right? That's your mydress.com, mymensfashionbrand.com, whatever your website is. Why? Because for one, you don't have to worry about selling it to wholesalers and only getting the wholesale price for each sale. You go straight to retail. You buy your product from the factory or you make it yourself and you go straight to the retail price. So your margins are higher. Two, it's going to allow you to communicate directly to your customer and not have to rely on communicating with buyers who buyers are hard to work with. They have stressful jobs and their priorities are moving product that customers know about or familiar with and that they can sell it as much as possible. Newer brands that don't have a big name are going to have a harder time getting into those wholesalers. So if you go directly to the customer, you're going to have a higher conversion rate than you would if you start trying to just call and email every buyer out there. Okay, so concentrate on getting customers to your website. It's going to be the most cost-effective way that you can actually drive your business early on. And the more customers that you do get to your website, when you do launch into your wholesale business and sell into retailers, you should be able to have a lot more traction and sell through than you would if you're just a brand new brand. The second thing that you should do in your distribution strategy, years 1 and 2, is to actually jump into doing drop ship with wholesalers, okay? Drop ship is something that has really taken off over the last, I would say, 5 to 10 years. It did not exist when I started in the fashion industry back in 2003. But what has happened is that retailers have become smarter, they've become leaner because there's a lot of stress on brick and mortar, whether it's malls or department stores and retailers. everyone knows that the majority of purchases right now that are happening online. And so one way for them to be able to continue to offer a vast amount of brands and even startup brands and niche brands and cool brands is to be able to do what's called drop ship. And for those who aren't familiar, drop ship is basically where online retailers or retailers like Nordstrom and Macy's will offer product on their website, but they do not buy it in the traditional wholesale model, right? So they're not buying the inventory and putting it in their warehouse and then shipping it to customers. What they're doing is they will partner with a brand like yours. They will say, give us a Excel file that shows all your inventory, give us all your high-res images. We're going to post it on our website. So say, for instance, the retailer is Nordstrom. They will post all of your products on their website, and then customers can go on there, purchase it, and when they receive that purchase order or that order online, they send you an email, and then you ship it to the customer with a Nordstrom label, okay? And what happens is you get paid in 30 days the wholesale price, and Nordstrom will keep the difference between the wholesale and the retail price. So why is this a win-win and why is it growing? Retailers love it. They don't have to carry the inventory. They don't have all the overhead that comes with the traditional wholesale business. And then for you as the startup fashion brand, you're able to say, I'm carried in Nordstrom online, and without having to work with a buyer that's going to be basically disregarding you because you're brand new, okay? So that's your first 2 years. The last thing I would focus on is your online flash sales sites for closeouts. At the end of each season, say for instance your spring 2018 season is already online, and then next thing you know it's the fall, and you want to bring in your new fall product. One way to really close these out is to work with websites such as Gilt, Zulily, Outlook, Modinique, etc. And these again are websites that are very open to working with early stage companies. They basically are, if you have say a handbag that usually retails at $100, they're going to say we need at least 50% off. So they'll be more than willing, again, to put your product on their website. I've worked with Zulily, I've worked with Outlook, I've worked with Modinique, I've worked with Gilt. And what they'll do is they'll put your product on their website. They'll show this normal suggested retail price is $100. They sell it for $50, and then you guys split the difference. They win because they're able to offer their customers very discounted products. And then you win because you're able to get customers who would have never heard about your startup looking at your product, buying your product, and becoming, hopefully, ambassadors for your product. So those are the three areas that you should really be concentrating on in your first 2 years of business. You should be very, very concentrated on that. And then everything else should come out later. Year 3, then you should get into launching your wholesale at online retailers. Again, the traditional wholesale where these retailers buy the product and keep the inventory. Launching a hotel and specialty stores and retail chains. These are your boutiques, your mom and pop shops. Again, if someone contacts you and they really want to carry your brand, definitely carry it. But I would not concentrate on it. This is not to say that in year 1 and 2, you shouldn't work with online retailers or specialty stores, but I would not concentrate on it. As you go into year 4, launching your wholesale at department stores, international distribution, working with distributors. We'll talk about that later. And then you can go into some licensing. Easy way to launch and grow your product line without you actually spending your own money. So year 5, pop-up shops, shop-in-shops, your flagship stores, standalone branded stores. You can look to go into those. But this is a strategic rollout. We'll talk about year 3, year 4, and year 5 planning later in some different courses. But we're going to really focus on year 1 and year 2 in this course, in the next lectures coming ahead. So thanks a lot. You can find us at wardandfifth.com. Find us online on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Ward and Fifth. Thank you very much.